Good afternoon. I know it's the last panel of the day, and it's difficult to concentrate after so much of knowledge, but I would request you to please join us for this panel, because this is going to be one that talks about implementation, the challenges of implementation, and as well as also looking at new directions in terms of how we can engage in terms of facilitating the process of startup solutions, financing in the context of the actual clean air action plans that are happening in the country. There has been a lot of conversation throughout the day about, carbon emissions, climate tech, and solutions, but we haven't really talked about the whole idea of what is happening at the policy space in terms of clean air action planning. What is the role that startups can play, and what is the actual role of venture capital in this process of leading towards clean air? So I think we'll try. This panel is curated by the Council on Energy, Environment and Water, and I would like to actually address the audience in terms of facilitating a process where we have a conversation with policymakers, with venture capitalists and people who are working on the ground. And I want to mention here that we're very fortunate to have representation from the Municipal Commission of Delhi. We also have representation from the National Institute of Urban Affairs, which is running the CITIIS program, which is a large program of the government of India in terms of urban development. And of course, we have very seasoned VCs here who have worked on the ground. I'd like to start with Ajay ji. Ajay ji, the National Clean Air Program has just been completed. 5 years of the National Clean Air Program has been completed, and we are moving on to the phase 2 of it. Delhi has very ambitious plans of air quality management, and I also know, because I work very closely with you in terms of what the MCD is doing. I wanted to ask you that obviously we know that one of the issues that has come up is that we need a whole lot of financing for implementation of these programs. And although almost 19,000 crores was allocated for air quality management in the last NCAP, we feel that we need more finance in terms of addressing the issue of solutions. I would like to ask you, from a government perspective, from a local urban body perspective, what would be some of the investable projects that you think startups can support as far as the Municipal Commission is concerned?
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. So as Prarthana just asked, I would just like to highlight one project. I used to work on it a decade back in 2016. That was about my landfill sites. There are 3 landfill sites in Delhi which were like Koore ke Pahad. So I was abroad last month and everybody was asking. I told that I am working on waste management. So people who are not living in Delhi, people living in Delhi or around, they may be having some sanitation issues. Kooda nahi utta hai, kooda nahi jata hai, sadak pe patch hai. But especially people like those who come less often, maybe once a year, twice a year, or maybe less than that. So they had a very particular question about what's happening with those pahads, because once you go towards north, towards Shimla or whatever, or like you go to the east, use Meerut Expressway or Delhi Dehradun Expressway, there is Gazipur. So in 2016, and it was our thinking, sincere thinking, we can't do anything about it. And the government rules also permit us that we can cap it. So we used to think that we will cap it, and in fact, I myself started capping of a Okhla landfill site in 2016. And NGT ordered us, no capping, nothing, you have to remove them. So we filed an application saying, we don't have a space where to take away this material. So this was the thought process in 2016. We filed it and it was summarily rejected by NGT. And somehow, because of this entrepreneurship skills of the people, what has happened is, we have been able to remove 200 lakh tons of the solid waste from these 2 sites. 2 sites are almost gone. So there is another issue. I am adding around 2 lakh tons of waste again every month on those sites. So I am having left with 70,000-80,000, which has been deposited in the last 3 years. So what was deposited in the last 30 years has been removed. So again, it's a government-sponsored project, so there is no entrepreneurship is only to the extent of finding a space where this can be taken and like investment in terms of machinery. So right now, as you very rightly said in NCAP, so in India, like in place like Delhi, because of our climate conditions, there is a dusty season, dusty places are there, so a lot of work is going on paving of roads. Paving, grassing, on this there is a focus. There is a focus in handling. CEEW had a study for which we met for the first time. They are having a study with the organic waste. Again, with the organic waste, the thought process was we can't do much about it. When we were kid, we used to think, I'm from a small town like गोबर गैस का plant होता था वो चला फिर कुछ बंद हो गया ऐसी कुछ सोलर का कुकर आया चला बंद हो गया. But now more or less now things have established that this organic waste, wet waste can be handled in a very scientific manner. And it can be done locally also, it can be done on a large scale. So that's an area where I understand that there can be a lot of venture, like lot of startups can join in case of handling wet waste. Recently also the Government of India has come up with the latest SWM rules 2026 and it mandates a certain category, beyond a certain threshold, people who are generating more than 100 kg of waste per day, they are supposed to treat it on site. In case they are not able to do, there has to be agencies which will handle that waste on their behalf. So there I see a lot of startups joining us. In fact, recently also we have invited an expression of interest. This is under operation. I like people who want to join on 3rd. There is a pre-bid meeting kind of thing, a discussion kind of thing in my office at 19th floor in Municipal Corporation, Shyama Prasad Mukherjee Civic Center, where we shall be discussing with the prospective startups how to deal with this waste. This is one of the area which I understand, and there can be so many things not only which is another thing which is causing air pollution is C&D waste. In Delhi, we are generating around 6,000 tons plus C&D waste every day. So I'm collecting 6,000, I'm treating it, but still a lot of waste is lying alongside the roads or it's being dumped unscientifically. So there can be involvement of startups in those, and I understand it will come very soon. I knew few people who are coming and going they're just trying to work out things. So these are, I think, the two of the areas which I see that there can be immediate contribution of the people. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, because I think we didn't discuss the issue of waste at all in the entire day. And I think waste is a large contributor to air pollution. Open burning of waste is a large contributor to air pollution. And I think it is an important area. Most of the conversation that we talked about was on tech. But the tech for what is something that I think we really need to discuss. And we always look at a problem from a macro level, but the moment you talk to a policy person, you realize that there are a lot of micro interventions that one can work with. And it's important for us to identify these so that if you really want to solve the problem. So it's not about just transitioning to EVs, which is going to solve the problem of air pollution, but it is a multi-sectoral approach. Which brings me to my next speaker, Pawan, because I've been following him on LinkedIn, and I see that his approach towards addressing air pollution is very intersectoral. And I wanted to ask him, because we were talking about waste just now, because the title of this conversation is Bankable Air, City Clean Air Plans to Investable Projects. So, Pawan, since you've been working in this space for a while, it would be interesting to know what is your take on what is an investable project? Because so far in the conversation, we've heard about mobility, we've heard about EVs, and we've heard about, CO2 mitigation. But what about other sources, there is dust, there is, crop residue management. What do you think would be an investable project? Do you think venture capitalists would look at a particular sector?
Thanks, Prarthana. So the short answer to that is yes. Venture capitalists not only are looking at various such solutions because the problem is now large enough. It's being experienced by people, it's a burden on the policymakers, and it is affecting health, corporate life, everything else, right? So ultimately, when everything boils down to the economy and the money, then that's when solutions also start coming in this capitalist world. Having said that, so we know that the cause of city pollution is a lot to do with mobility. It's a lot to do with the dust. Ajay ji just spoke about that waste as well, and the other waste that we generate at home and corporates and factories, etc., which is not collected properly or not dealt with properly, converts into methane or is burnt or whatever, right? So these are different sources. There are technologies for each one of them. Mobility is the rock star in this whole space because electrification, because of Elon Musk, is very sexy thing to talk about, and there are good solutions which have scaled. Some of us have made money out of those solutions. But I think going beyond mobility, waste is my pet area today. And waste is, so there are solutions which we are looking at. And there are solutions where the wet waste is converted into compost. It doesn't have to go out at all, right? So RWAs can easily do that. Homes can easily do that. After that, there is a role of dry waste, if at all it is segregated at home levels or segregated later on. That dry waste can be recycled or reused into repurposed into various things. So plastic bottles, there are solutions about efficiently recycling them. There are lots of questions on that, but they can be recycled. Then there are solutions wherein the multi-layer packaging being converted into plastic chips or something which can be used to remake some products. So there is I will name some companies just for the sake of it. There's a company called Ashaya based out of Pune. Their brand is called Without. They also came on Shark Tank. They showed off their sunglasses, which they said is made out of kurkure packaging. They collect the multi-layered packaging of chips, etc., from the streets, right? They're not collecting from homes. There is a company called Bintix, which collects dry waste from homes as a subscription model. And they use that waste to create data, which can then be used by marketing companies to market their products to them. So again, the capitalism has to come in for solutions to work. There are many such solutions, and these are all venture invested businesses. There are technologies which are coming in where AI and deep tech is being used for segregation. Robotic arms are coming in for electric waste, even for dry waste. Otherwise, different kind of plastics being segregated into different wastes, so that they can then be sent to recycling plants or repurposing plants for their next life. There is also a very interesting solution which we are actually evaluating today. It's an AI solution which figures out the quality of roads and the potential of the roads breaking and creating dust out of that, and the condition of the pavements, walkways, walking paths around that, the condition of trees, and what will happen in 3 months from now, so that either the municipalities or the private bodies which are taking care of that area can act upon it, right? Once again, the money comes from Google because they sell the data to Google. But the point is, there's a business model and then there's a technology. So for the business model, if both of them marry into something which is scalable, that's where venture investor comes in. So yeah, we are looking at various such solutions, and I think waste, we all know today, is wealth. So it's a lot of money to be made. So yeah, we are looking at them.
So there you are. It's not, I mean, we have multiple solutions, which brings me to Sourabh, because I think, it's just automatically flowing, because Sourabh and I were having this conversation, that there are a lot of pilots, there are a lot of solutions, there are a lot of different issues that are being, handled by multiple startups. So Sourabh handles the CITIIS program, which is a large program which has been running for 5 years now, is it? Yeah, for 3 years, and they are now into the second phase. So they move from pilots to programs, and it has been a really successful model in terms of urban planning. I'm just wondering, do you think that there is an opportunity for, say, a central organization like an IUA or a research organization like ours, where we can find the opportunity to collate some of these information, because it's also about sharing between the states or sharing between locations? Because, I mean, Pawan, of course, knows what is happening, so he just told us everything, right? But if we have to really look at a solution, I think it'll take us quite some time to do a research, and CEEW will probably take 3 months to take out a research paper. so I think, I was just wanting to know, how would you, like, what is your view in terms of, collating this kind of information, and is there a role in an organization like yours?
So thanks for putting that question. Let me explain you about two components that the project currently takes up. One of the component is about waste management, where we are supporting 18 cities to prepare their circular economy master plans, identify projects, build circularity around their cities, and set examples. Of course, that does involve a lot of peer exchange requirements that the program is supporting from our side. So we do undertake various training programs as well as webinars that are being circulated across so that people learn from what is happening in these cities, as well as what they are planning to do going ahead. Secondly, with respect to the component 2, which is talking about state climate actions. So one thing we all agree, that state climate actions or city climate actions does not translate into climate actions, rather translate into projects on ground. Any project related to waste management, construction, demolition, waste management, mobility, that tries to angle or tries to address the problem of the city as well as address the climate side of it, becomes a successful one that showcases how climate has been addressed depending on the need. As part of the program, we are supporting 21 states with having an institutionalized structure, number one, so that there are climate cells at the state and city level. Plus, these are housed within municipal corporations. That means that whatever budgets or whatever contextualized climate action plans or pipeline of projects that come up because of the program can basically be funded through municipal streams or can be taken up as municipal projects going ahead. So there will be a lot of requirement to address the demand that will get created because of this pipeline of projects. And then certainly having an organization or a setup where the demands can be brought in, the supplies in form of startups, in form of PPP arrangements, in form of bankable projects that can be established will be good enough.
So from what I understand, I think it's important for us to identify where the opportunity is also. I mean, we spend a lot of time finding the solution based on what we hear, but finding the opportunity and where the opportunity is in terms of the government framework is also going to be very crucial if we have to make the match. So Shailesh, I've known you for a long time. I think you are one of those pioneers in terms of pushing for air quality management. I think first meeting we met almost 8 or 9 years back. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, basically, because you also emphasize on accelerators, right? So what is the role of an accelerator, and what is your experience, and how can that be, how can that support the whole entire issue of air quality management?
So I think the early stage accelerators, as they are, they help the startups to do the PMF, product market fit maintenance, figure out what they're doing. Is there a need for the market or not? Whether that will survive or not. That's what accelerators do, right? We support accelerator for whole Asia. We run with that program with UN called Low Carbon Earth, and we support close to, we are running for the last 5 odd years, and I think we have supported close to 300 odd startups, and out of them, I think they have raised more than $400 million so far. So not bad, right? So they scale, they have become large. The only issue is the daily air has remained where it is, right? But I think generally the companies are growing, markets are large, and different opportunities are coming because startups grow as the needs come apart, right? So this is what you want to ask, yeah?
No, I want to ask you that, and you said it's climate tech startups, right? So, and you said air pollution is not. So
no, it is part of.
It's part of it.
So
right?
generally, globally, especially Western world, when they talk about climate, for them the only climate means carbon capture. For them, Western world climate capture. But for Asia, I think, or what you guys call global South, I think climate is for us bigger. Because we have air pollution, we have waste, we have plastic pollution. So for me, climate is all my environment, right? And that's why I feel that India probably might be the place where we will have, because India is the only country in the world which you have a sub-Sahara problem and the spine of Silicon Valley. So we have those, combinations there. People in Silicon Valley don't get what air pollution is. Like if you're in Singapore, you don't even get what is happening. I think, yeah, because India, whole India, I think India is broken way beyond, because India, the quality of life is, so India, people say is a country, right, where the taxes are of Europe, while the quality of life is Madagascar, right, Ethiopia. So we have a very unique kind of situation. So I think probably Indian startups can solve something which can't.
Absolutely, I think so. That's a very positive note to end with. So Samir, let me come to you. I want to come back to you with the same question that I had asked Ajay ji, because you've been working with a lot of startups, you've been looking at government also in terms of opportunity. So what would be your bankable project?
So we've evaluated a lot of startups across, and I'd like to answer this in two parts. First is, of course, the subject of the panel, which is air itself, right? And focusing on this, we've been testing with a lot of financial structures across. And what we observed is that across Delhi NCR, the Delhi NCR industrial belt, I'm just picking up one target segment as of now, and probably going forward, we need your help also with probably a report or a validation on the numbers. So the current hypothesis which we are testing is that the industrial belt is a very large air pollution contributor. Of course, the Delhi government has been doing enough within Delhi in terms of formulating the right EV policy, taking care of the road, and so on and so forth. But this industrial belt has been a large contributor of air pollution. And what we've been thinking from a capital structuring solution is, and we're testing this as we speak, is we've spoken to 2-3 SMEs. These are all small SME clusters who don't have bankable balance sheets. They can't walk to a bank and say, give me money if I need to, let's say, for example, switch from coal for my foundry or my boiler from coal to PNG. No bank is going to fund them because these are very small MSMEs not having very strong balance sheets. So how do you actually go and practically fund these guys, right? And we are experimenting with an operating lease structure here, right, which sort of makes them bankable over a 7-year period. So their cash flows, which they need to repay a bank, is spread over seven years, right? It's like giving rent, taking the machinery on rent and giving that money to a bank or a large lender as rent, which is matched with your cash flows. It does not stress your balance sheet. And at the same time, it's a far more easier workable model, right, which comes from a banking perspective. And we were thinking of, and that's where we would like to request both CEEW and Ajay sir as well. He's in the podium, so I'll take the liberty of addressing him as well. What better, right? So, I'm sure I have the government's ears and, of course, yourself also. So if CITIIS has a very large climate finance program of refinancing and financing a lot of things. We have the Delhi Finance Corporation, which was incorporated in 1967. It is in Delhi, very much functional. Maybe that could be used as an SPV. It already does a lot of operation leasing to commercial vehicles, sir, and MSMEs and equipment. If that vehicle, through financed by CITIIS, could be used probably to start with Delhi NCR first, and then, of course, the whole nation, it can be replicated across the country. This operating lease structure gets funded by CITIIS, gets delivered by DFC, Delhi Finance Corporation, to all the MSME industrial clusters which are around Delhi NCR, to migrate from probably a coal use to, let's say, a PNG or CNG, which is far better. And of course, it will help in reducing this air pollution, which actually comes from this entire industrial belt, which is around Delhi NCR. And this is a bankable solution, sir. So it connects with your theme. So over to you.
Thank you so much. So the next question, sir, to you, Ajay, sir. He's just given you a project. What bottlenecks do you? What bottlenecks? So what bottlenecks do you anticipate? And how do we? What are the bottlenecks that we need to clear in the government mechanism? Because I've been talking to people, in the sidelines, and everyone says it's very difficult, to implement something. So what is it that, how do we clear some of the bottlenecks? Or what is the greatest bottlenecks we could face?
So my exposure to all these kind of projects is only limited to the infrastructure projects. Sure. Not purely like MSME or industries. I hear about a lot and I have an opinion on this. I fully agree with it. But I don't think there is any coal-fired thing available in like the Delhi NCR. It has been like banned long back. To that extent, even diesel operated generators are also blocked. What to say of coal? So I know of like a current thing going on, like whatever we are remediating from our landfill sites is going to Muzaffarnagar. There are a lot of paper industry. And they have like remodeled or like refurbished their furnaces so as to have RDF. So RDF is little less pricey. And the guy who is working here, what his entrepreneurship skills are, that he had refurbished their furnaces just to suit so that he can supply its RDF to them. So to that extent, I know the industry, not beyond that point. So as far as infrastructure projects are concerned here, earlier there was an issue like 7 years back, we established one waste to energy plant in Tekhand, and there was issue how quickly we can get finance for that project. Because my idea to the bargain from my side is that I am able to supply my waste and my waste vanishes. So again, some government organization was tapped and like he got funds from IREDA and PFCC, Power Finance Corporation, it got settled. So currently whole, there has been a dynamic situation, and I find like finance is really available for the infrastructure projects as of now, especially in waste management. People are aware, people believe it, things are happening. As I said in the beginning, like biogas plants. So if there is a appropriate technology, like people collaborate with place like IIT or some place where really something is happening. So those projects are really, really bankable, and the size can be as little as 10 crores and it may be like 100 crore, 200 crore. These are doable projects. Recently, one entrepreneur has done project with us in Najafgarh and he's doing fine. Initially, when he started with us in like 2017, we were thinking it won't go much far. So there was a VGF given to us, viability gap funding by Mahua, and we agreed to supply it. And our really, on this side of the system, we were thinking it's not doable thing. But he's really working fine. We are glad to see that. So it's a small project of say 30 crore rupees. We are working on bigger projects also. So funding is available now, like maybe through VCs or through power, these government finance companies or NBFC or whatever. So these are all, waste to energy is a like large capital intensive project. So initially there were hardly 1 or 2 bidders. Recently I bid out one project in Narela Bhavana and there were 5 bidders. And they had tied up funds from elsewhere and people which we haven't heard of. As of now, like waste to energy projects are being executed, I tell you, all across the country. In Andhra, they have recently taken up 6. In Jaipur, I think they are about to establish. So funding is not an issue. There are definitely bankable projects and people are believing it. Once you see one project working, so it gives you a belief. That's my understanding. Thank you.
Yeah, but I think it's still very much the conversation is within the people who are working in the space, and we need to really take it to different, to others outside, which is why I spoke about the platform. Pawan, taking the cue from Ajay, what is one, this is particularly in the context of air, and I don't want to go back to, again, to climate mitigation. In the context of air, which is one air quality mitigation sector that you see is going to become highly investable in the next 5 years, and why? Or is it going to be all of them? You can approach
you mean
it.
the source of bad air?
Solving the issue.
Solving the issue. So I think one tends to say mobility because there is a lot of money coming in there. And there's still a lot to be done, right? We've spoken about how little electrification has been done and also how much of that electricity also is renewable. So combining those two, I think that's a humongous opportunity in India. The other, so I will say two. The other one is actually waste. Waste segregation, waste management, waste recycling, waste reuse, RDF, which he pointed out, biogas. Right? These are humongous opportunities. So I think these are some of the areas where we are also looking at, and there are opportunities.
Shailesh, what do you, I know that you've worked extensively in the EV and the transport. So what is required actually to make the rest of air quality management attractive?
I think air pollution, I don't think is going anywhere. I don't think, so India, the local part is very broken, and I don't think it's going to get fixed anytime soon. So I think the requirement air purifier will just zoom, right? What we had talked earlier. I think the houses, HVAC, everything else. I think we are at a tipping point. We're just not the things we already did. We just don't know it yet. So in the same situation, I think things are pretty bad. I don't think the waste and all will become large. Very complicated. They are infra plays, but from saying VC part, probably I think personal purifier will become very, very critical and important. I think next 3 to 4 years time.
So is it only purifiers, or you think, it would be also things like, to prevent like sprinklers and, other stuff?
Yeah, I don't know, sprinklers and all that is wasted. There's just, but there are better ways to burn money than to, run these road sprinklers than putting those dumpers, which are vacuum cleaners. So I think you can burn money rather than just putting sprinklers. It's like, say, boiling water, right? It's stupidity, with all due respect.
Sure.
So I think what you need is, so probably basically it's not getting solved. So personal devices, the car, everything will become this. Though it won't solve, I think the point is you will breathe. So I think India has a real challenge. People are not realizing it. People are really doing silos. I think the crisis will become worse and worse. And I see the best part probably investment is to get a passport, get out.
So we all become air pollution migrants. Saurabh, since you are building cities, do you agree, or do you think, how do we convince cities, how do we convince cities to make clean air projects more investable so that we don't have to leave the country?
So we have heard two sides.
Sure.
One was on the mitigation side,
Yes.
where Sir talked about waste management, mobility, and Sir talked about the adaptation side.
Absolutely.
See, all of us understand that the air pollution problem is not standalone problem. Air pollution problem, climate change problem, these are all interlinked. The challenge over here is that we have to...
I'll just say bye to Sir because he had to leave. We'll conclude anyways in 2 minutes. But thank you so much for coming. Yeah.
So we have to collectively think about solutions. As cities, as states where we are supporting, we are trying to identify projects that do not only address climate as a problem, but also address different key functional areas. Because when, as a municipality, we go out to see what type of projects we need, obviously that type of project will have a linkage with your suspended particulate matter, your carbon dioxide emissions, your all GHG methane emissions, etc. So that is where the key is, to looking at the projects that are doable, addressing the climate side of it.
Sure, thank you so much. Do you want to add something?
Yeah.
Sure.
So I don't want to sound so negative. I tell you the background. So I got in air pollution 2018. I had set up a $60 million fund. I left the fund half. I said, I'm done doing consumer tech, right? Let me solve air pollution. And I believe that air pollution can be solved. I still believe air pollution can be solved. But over 8 years of time, burning a lot of my own money and time, I figured out that India is structured not to solve anything. It is a fact. We have to understand that. Think of anything which India has solved. Delhi, Bangalore traffic, I'm hitting since 2019, right? 2001, right? Delhi traffic, you take any problem, India is not structured to solve. So we have to understand this. Ask me, is air pollution can be solved mathematically? Yes, it can be solved, right? We have enough. It's not that India is the first one to get air pollution. Tokyo had the problem, Japan had the problem, Tokyo had the problem, London had the problem, LA smoke was the word, right? Beijing we all know in our time, right? So from 60s, it is solved in every city. This is a part of the problem growing up. You grow up, you get the pollution, you solve it. India is structured something different, right? It's structured in a way, we have not solved any problem. Look at like say all urban, look at the quality of urban life in India. It's shit. Sorry for the language, right? So, but that's the way it is. So I think it can't be solved. So my thing is all technology, everything is fine, but we are not structured to solve it.
Please don't say that.
The budget as much as you
my team is sitting here, and we are called the daring to fail team in the organization, and they'll all say, oh, now we don't want to work on clean air, we want to find something else to do. But yeah, I know what you're saying, but I think you're right that we also need to focus on adaptation solutions because the problem is not going to be solved overnight. Samir, last question to you, most important. One financial instrument that you propose to unlock capital for clean air?
I would say operating lease structure. right, which we can actually make it work. And we'll show it to you, provided you support us with the right statistics and the numbers. And I keep reiterating
Samir
that.
is truly a consultant. He would always want to propose
And
his
to
own
answer,
solution.
sir, you've revalidated. I just met a startup. They started making disposable oxygen with almost this size, right? They market it for 150 or 200 rupees. I think if I start, we've invested, it's high time we invest in startups like that. Probably you'll stay back in the country, right? You can always press it and take a whiff and throw it off.
So I'd like to thank the panelists, but before that, just a few words of conclusion. I think air pollution is a very complex problem, and while the climate narrative has global directions because it is a global problem, unlike climate, air pollution is a local problem, so it has to be handled in the country and by the country. Our work on air pollution, although we had an Air Act, almost 30 years back, our work on air pollution is actually very new. We only had the NCAP about 5 years back. So we must also take into consideration that the policy for air quality management has just begun, and it's not possible to change it. We have to, of course, look at multiple sources. And I think the issue is that it needs to be addressed not only from the perspective of mitigation solutions or adaptation solutions, but there's also a lot of data to be generated because so that you can identify the source and the problem is addressed at the source. So it is a complicated problem, and I mean, we've been working in this space for quite a while now, and we realize that while I agree with you that structurally it is very difficult to work with policy, but there is also positive examples of where we can work with policy to address the issue, which is why I think it's important to have collaboration. It's important to bring people together on the plane, because we have a lot of solutions out there, but we do not have the mechanism to make the solutions available to where it's required. India is a big country, so I think that is probably where we would like to, we can play a role. And I'd really like to thank IVCA for creating this unique panel and unique kind of a audience where we have brought in a think tank, and we've got venture capitalists, and we've also got people from who've actually worked on implementation in the cities. And hopefully, Shailesh, we will be able to solve the problem. But Pawan wants to have the last word, and I'll give it to him.
Yeah, so let me do that. So I don't really share Shailesh's enthusiasm. I think we will solve the problem. I think things have changed a lot, and I'm saying this because of maths again. I think things have changed a lot in the last few years. There is a lot more awareness. Frankly, I wasn't aware about this problem 3 years back that I am today. And I can see a lot many more people aware of the problem, and hence there are people who are trying to build solutions. There are many more entrepreneurs out there. There are many more incubators which are building technology around it. There is that much more capital available, not only from grants from the government, but also from venture capitalists like myself, and there are others here who are doing that. I don't think this capital was available 5 years back as much. Shailesh was doing it, but not as much was available. So combination of capital, combination of awareness of the problem, I think entrepreneurs will solve for this problem. Yeah.
Thank you.